And we're going to start tonight talking about who else, a guy that's probably a captain. I don't know if UNC names captains or not, but he should be a captain. Guard, All American, Mr. Do Everything, RJ Davis. Sean, we've talked a little bit about in past episodes about what RJ can do to be better. I want you to tell the audience what RJ Davis is going to be doing this coming season, specifically with some new guys on the roster. A little bit of a change in post depth because for the first time, since the Nixon administration, Armando Bacot will not be suiting up and playing in the paint, and so Art's going to have to probably do things a little bit different than he has in the past. I'm going to ask you, what do you expect that to look like for this coming season for good old RJ?
Great question. I think last year I probably felt more confident in my answer around this, even though there's probably more question marks with him potentially playing off the ball, or would he play on the ball? How would he fit with Elliot Cadeau, etc. So he went from 16 points per game to 20 points per, or yeah, 21 points per game. Efficiency increased, 3-point shooting increased. So overall, from top to bottom, everything he did was a step up from the prior year. And I think no secret part of that was playing off the ball, and I do think Elliott playing that lead guard role was able to free him up and help him focus on what he does best, and that's put the ball in the basket. He obviously worked extremely hard in the offseason to improve his shooting, improve his ability to create for himself, but also hit shots in the paint, hit tough step backs, et cetera, and be a lot more consistent from the 3-point line. So going into next year where you're losing so much from Armando just to that elder consistency between Ingram and Ryan, I could see the points per game going up to 22, probably 23 max, but at the same time seeing some of that efficiency decrease, especially early on when you're trying to figure out what is Cade Tyson going to bring. How is RJ going to play with Ian Jackson, who is going to be putting up a lot of points, but also wants the ball in his hand, and then Drake coming off the bench. At the same time, no consistent bigs to double off of and get open looks. So I could see, once again, I think the points per game, probably earlier on, I'd say, hey, what he did last year was probably the ceiling in terms of that. But I think last year often referred to it as a Marcus Howard light season, and Marcus Howard continued to see his points per game increase. And I don't think it's going to be at that 25, 26 level, but I think RJ is going to have to increase his scoring a little bit, especially early on where everybody's trying to feel each other out and feel out what everybody can actually do on the court in real live situations.
Sherrell, I want to ask you about RJ. What does a different role for RJ Davis look like? Right, I think Sean just laid out the fact that maybe his volume goes up at least early on, and he is going to have to take a little more, if you can imagine that, take a little more things on his shoulders to try to ease the new faces into the roster and kind of test out the chemistry, or at least work with it until the chemistry becomes much more fluid. What do you think it looks like to see RJ Davis doing different things next season?
For me, honestly, I think if Elliot Cadeau takes the step that we are anticipating him taking, then I think I want to see RJ Davis's assist rate continue to go up. It has gone up. It went up last year from, his junior season, and it was at 20.0 last year. It was 19.6 his sophomore year when he was kind of the true point guard. But I think Elliot Cadeau's ability to knock down open shots, because he's going to get a lot of open shots until he proves that he can knock them down. So it's kind of like if he can do that, that is another player that RJ Davis, when he is driving, when he's coming off pick and roll, that he can look for. Additionally, I think he hasn't played with two finishers or guys we think are going to be finishers like Drake Powell and Ian Jackson. So in transition, I think it's going to be much more effective for him to kind of push tempo as quickly as possible. Like, I kind of want to see RJ Davis just like running as much as possible around Chapel Hill over the next month, because I think between his ability to be the backup point guard and run the team and push tempo for offense for himself and offense for others, I think he also is going to be coming off of a lot of screens, because to Sean's point, there's not going to be Armando Bacot to get double teamed to leave defenses to collapse on and leave open shots. So they're going to have to manufacture, I think, some of his attempts, because I think we saw in some of the game, like the last game against Alabama, I think it became too much of he had to dribble, for 15 seconds and then take tough step backs and take, kind of, just tough shots in general that involved a lot of energy. So I think they're going to have to manufacture stuff. I think they're going to do that through screening, through angles, calling plays for him. So I think that'll look a little bit different. I don't think it'll be. He's still going to be on the ball a lot. Don't get me wrong.
For
I
sure.
think it might be less on the ball for him when he's at the 2 guard, and when he is on the ball, I think his assist rate will go up just because he's going to have really good finishers, around, and then K Tyson as well. Kind of probably sitting over there in the corner wide open.
I think that's the beautiful potential for North Carolina is as folks continue to try to pressure RJ and push out, and if Elliot Cadeau is able to develop a serious perimeter threat, as folks have to expend more energy higher on the floor, that will absolutely leave corner threes open. That'll leave other places closer to the baseline open for UNC. It's just a matter of can they knock down shots. And so thinking about guys that are sometimes on the wing, Sean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I think last year we went into this a lot, talking about defense, and I think for the once again, I don't think RJ is ever going to be a lockdown defender, but for the most part, even if teams were targeting him, you didn't see the situations like you saw as a junior and maybe the pick game or some of the other ones. So once again, I think hopefully a continued focus on that, and that went to the overall focus from the UNC team on staying in front of their man and playing great team defense throughout the season. So once again, with the new players, can they buy into that overall aspect? But in terms of the offensive improvement, I think you've seen RJ do well at some of the camps he's been at. The big question for the next level, whether it's NBA, G League, overseas, whatever it may be, is how's he going to play against length? And I think we did see struggles against UVA, against obviously Alabama in the last game, and second game of the season playing at Kansas. Who you're going to see again is Rylan Griffin. So you can be sure Bill Self is putting Griffin on RJ Davis to start the season. So how does he work, and play against length, which to me will be the most interesting thing, just to see if there's any new wrinkles he's put into his game, because there were so many that he had added going into last year.